What's up, gamers, and welcome back for more WotC-20. Today's matchup is Kingdra Scizor versus Wigglytuff Do the Wave. Notable supporting package in this Wigglytuff deck is going to be Koga's Zubat, so we'll get into it here. Opening actives is Cleffa for Scizor Kingdra, with a Scizor on the bench. On the other side is going to be a Tyrogue and a Cleffa on the bench. Opening hand, you see two DCEs, as well as a Scizor itself. Looks like there's going to be an early comp, so it's just going to be a hard choice to go and get what I assume is a fan club. Cleffa, an easy choice. The second card there, DCE, not as easy of a choice to pitch. Good little deck peep going on here. A lot of Kingdra staples we just saw there. I did not see a Pokemon Center. I've yet to see that yet in this deck, but there is the Reverse Holo fan club. Going to go and fill up the bench here. See a Desert Shaman, but out of fan club will come a Chain Reaction Eevee and E-Reader Horsey. Aquapolis Horsey sporting 50 HP with a notably good attack of Reverse Thrust for DCE. 20 damage, and then you can switch it with one of your bench Pokemon. Or rather, you have to switch it with one of your bench Pokemon if one exists. DCE is going to go to Cleffa, so that will imply that, yeah, there's an Espeon in this deck somewhere. 5 means no eking here. Tyrogue has a baby rule of its own, and if you can hit 2 heads, Tyrogue can also knock out a Cleffa. Kind of want to see that. You can see that Sabrina's Abra in hand. It's an interesting Tech Splash card. Does have you splash some Psychic Energy, but it's a free retreater. It's got 50 HP, and Energy Loop is 20. Alright, we're going to go for that double flip with Tyrogue. It's Tails on the baby rule, so it is a 1 out of 4, keep that in mind. Oak in hand. Scizor will come down to evolve that Eevee, or rather to evolve the Scizor, which then triggers Chain Reaction to evolve that Eevee. There's a Goldberry in that deck. Trying to see if there's a center. There's a nice Reverse Holo Aquapolis Espeon. Alrighty. Metal comes down on the Scizor. I assume we're going to see that Oak. There it is, empty hand. An optimal Oak. Fresh 7. And Oak is not a supporter, so the train will keep rolling here. Looks like 2 copycats, another fan club in hand. Could fan club up. I don't hate it. Thin that deck, get rolling. The real question is, will we see another attempt at Smash Punch from Tyrogue? There's a second fan club. Horsey number 2 comes down. What will be the supporting line, though? It's a Cleffa. Gotta respect the Smash Punch. Alright, a Metal, 2 Water in hand, a Gust, 2 Copycat as well. These Cleffas will switch. We already saw an attach for turn. Doesn't want to dangle the DCE off a potential knockout, playing it safe. So you missed the initial Smash Punch. Now you have to wonder, do you try to pivot into eking, considering how lopsided the board setups are right now? There is an energy removal. Always good against metal energy. Decides to hold it. Smash Punch again. Jigglypuff to bench. It's a Tails again. So this could get out of control pretty quick. Second metal comes down on Scizor. Oh boy, gusting in Jigglypuff. Copycat. Alright, so this will tell me whether or not we're looking for a Strength Charm. I'm not sure if there was room in the trainer base for this deck or not. Supporting Kingdra as the primary attacker is a little heavy on your slots, but not necessarily the trainer slots. But if there is any sort of damage augmentation for Scizor available, that Tyrogue or Cleffa is as good as dead. Still yet to see anything. Trader's going to put a Horsey back in. Makes sense. There's a lot of Horsey down already. Probably going to go and get a Kingdra if I had to guess, and there it is. Now, coming in and snatching here for Tyrogue does at least set up Mud Splash later on through Kingdra or through Kingdra's genetic memory to then tag 10 damage on the baby if it goes to bench. So Goldberry is going to go to Scizor. Tells me that there is no Strength Charm in this deck. And we will see just that. Looks like it's going to be snatched for 20 on a baby, no flip. There's a Shaman. I would hold that though. Wait for an Eek.
I'm gonna snatch here. I will snatch the Cleffa. We'll deal 20 for the Cleffa.
Snatching the Cleffa. Makes sense. It's always good to target a Cleffa. Alright, I can kind of see that. Thank you, pilots. Comp Search in hand, not a bad hand size either. Probably enough fodder to pitch to power a Comp Search for something like a Fan Club. That Aber in hand is probably worth pitching. Shaman of their own being held by Wigglytuff right now. And it's a double Abra pitch, that's kind of funny. Looking for Fan Club. Is it prized? Oh no. I think Fan Club is prized. Totally possible it isn't. It's possible you just have a Wigglytuff in hand with the DCE and you want to start swinging, but there's 2 metal energy on that Scizor. Gonna be hard to deal damage to it. ER comes down, hits a metal on Scizor, always good. Is there an attach for turn to the Cleffa though? No, there's an attach for turn to the Jigglypuff as a DCE. And instead Tyrogue will come in and try to flip for a Smash Punch that would deal 20, and it does. So I guess there's a Pipe Dream scenario here, which would be pretty aggressive and insane to see, where Wigglytuff can come in, you can still fill bench, you can ER that metal, and you can take out Scizor. That would be very hard to do, but worth noting. Oh boy. We're going to see some heavy metal. Shamaning both sides. If the opponent's not going to Eek, yeah, you can always Shaman to help tempo yourself. So with Scizor, heavy metal will deal 30 regardless of flips, but you can flip coins equal to the number of metal energy attached to Scizor, and then it will deal 30 plus 20 more for each head. So right now it's 30 flip for 50. Doesn't matter though, Tyrogue's only got 30 HP, so just got to get through this baby roll. Just gets through that baby roll, so there goes Tyrogue. First prize of the game. And like we said, you can push the pedal to the metal here. Probably have to like oak multiple times to get fully set up. Focus band on the Cleffa. That's interesting. And a grass energy. Well, that was pretty close. You're just an oak short of being able to do the cool thing, as well as a DCE, or sorry, an energy removal and a Wigglytuff. And an attach. Alright, it was a little far off. There's a fourth Jigglypuff in hand, so 4 on the Zubat line, at least 4 on the Jigglypuff line. Unsure about how many Tuffs, but it's probably 3 or 4. I assume it's 4. Another attach to that Scizor. Hard to kill when it's got metal on it. You might even see a snatch on the Jigglypuff. Looks like it's going to be a heavy metal for a knockout instead. That's right. Now we see a Focus Band keeps Cleffa going. It's ahead, so Focus Band goes away. Cleffa stands strong at 20 HP. Trade wars right now. Well, you might as well fully commit to the tough line. I don't think this is going to be a Zubat game. Although Scizor is one of those metal types that doesn't resist grass. Ooh, a double gust. Alright, Scizor opts to gust in a Jigglypuff with no energy, so that's kind of tough. And then Jigglypuff will gust in a Horsey, also with no energy. ER in hand would assume that's going face first into metal energy. And a grass attached to the active Jigglypuff fires off a Lullaby, but Horsey wakes up anyway. Espeon will bounce that DCE, put it on the Horsey, and that thing will be able to get out of there. Pretty good sized hand. I saw an Oak, an Espeon, Goldberry. Curious what that'll go down onto in an item finder. And there will be an item finder. Wonder if this will be... It's for a trader, okay. Trader throws Scizor back in. Probably gonna go and see ourselves Kingdra. There he is. Then probably an Evolve, a Goldberry attach, and an Oak to dump hands. Good sequencing. Good looking bench here for Kingdra's side. Not going to Oak? No. Is that not an Oak? Could have sworn it was. Reverse Thrust instead puts Cleffa active, deals 20 to Jigglypuff. There's a Wigglytuff off the top in hand. There's also 2 DCEs in hand for Tough. That's pretty nuts. Two DCEs, a Wigglytuff, and an energy removal is not a bad hand at all if you're going to start trading with that Scizor. Alright, baby roll attempt on Do the Wave is good. We're not going to see anything come down for energy removal yet. That's the first prize of the match for Wigglytuff. 5-5 prize parity. Scizor comes in. These are going to be some big heavy metal rolls. We're looking at 30, 50, and 70 as the benchmarks. So there is knockout potential there. Do the Wave only up to 50 right now, not 60. Alright, looks like that's 50. 10 left on Tough. Might as well swing if you can. You don't want Mud Splash cleaning that up. Still holding the Oak in hand for Scizor's side. Pretty good bluff. Alright, DC onto the other bench Jigglypuff, so there's 3 Jigglypuffs on board as well as 3 DCE. Clef it to the bench, so Do the Wave goes to 60, goes down to 40, Goldberry pops, so Scizor stays with that 20 marker on it. And that Wigglytuff is looking pretty dead. Alright, Espeon is going to energy return the DCE on Horsey, put it onto Kingdra, so that is now 1 attach away from being able to... Is it Twister? Yep, use Twister. Just figuring out how to take the KO here. And it will just be a straight KO to Wigglytuff. Goes up on prizes. How do you deal with this fully powered up Scizor? Ideally quickly, sometimes with fire. Energy removal is the best card in Wigglytuff's deck right now for this. There's a Wigglytuff in hand and a grass attached, so you could go in and swing for 60 up to 40 again. That would put Scizor to 60, and then there's a potential that you get 1 shot in return due to heavy metal. Instead, Tyrog will come in. Smash Punch is on a coin flip though, and it's not doing much here. Doesn't set you up for a knockout the following turn either.
I think it was last turn. You put that on this Jigglypuff as your last turn, and it was while this was still a flyer. I'll give him a grass.
Okay, that grass is instead going to Tyrog. Chip away for 10 on a heads, but it's a tails. The problem there too is Scizor gets a chance to respond. Trade her away an Eevee. I'd consider going and grabbing, well, maybe not a Scyther. Yeah, it's going to be the Kingdra. Too many metals have already been committed here. Alright, Kingdra comes down. Still clutching Oak.
I'll just roll for the heavy here.
Heavy Metal attempt on Tyrogue, nothing fancy. And it's a 6, Tyrogue's down. 3 prizes remain for Scizor. Now the problem with letting Tyrogue go there and risking the Smash Punch is losing anything active or benched powers down Do the Wave. So there was a chance the previous turn to come on in and get some meaningful damage off. That needs to be reevaluated now. Double Gust will come down. Getting gusted definitely doesn't matter here for Wigglytuff, but who do you want to gust otherwise? I guess the Seadra's something that can get stuck. The Kingdra could attack, so you probably don't want to enable that. And Lullaby from Jigglypuff is not going to keep that Seadra asleep for more than 2 seconds. Wakes up between turns. Still got an Oak in hand. Kingdra is now active. That also would have woken it up. Now we're Oaken. So after holding it for a while, grabbing 7. You can always bounce an energy with Espeon if you don't draw one here. And there's some energy, alright. A Cyclone and a Warp. Going to Warp out, probably throw the Scizor back in. And oh boy, it's Heavy Metal time. 60 HP on Jigglypuff, pretty big for a basic, so it's not going to go down easily, but double heads would do it. There's a Scyther to bench. Nothing wrong with that. You have Rainbow Energy. You could always Swords Dance. I don't know. Slash is a good attack. There's a DCE to move around with Espeon. Looks like we're going to Snatch. That definitely sets up a future Mud Splash KO through Kingdra, worth noting. And there's 2 of them, so Cleffa can't hide. I wouldn't have minded just jamming damage to face with that Jigglypuff, though. Three prizes left. You have 2 targets for Mud Splash to get baby knockouts here. Yet another Jigglypuff to the bench. Here comes Tough. Discard that Zubat with Oak. Fresh 7. Can you find an ER to take this Scizor out? There's a Gust. Not needed. I think that's an ER. Do you have an attach? Man, I'd even comp search for an attach at this point. Yep. Just needs an attach now. There is one in hand. I see the grass. That's a big knockout. Alright, there goes Scizor. Second prize of the match for Wigglytuff. Prizing is 3-4 in favor of Kingdra here. But coming off the bench, fresh, full HP, full 90 HP with a Gold Berry, DCE, and now 2 Water Energy. It's Kingdra. Twister lets them flip 2 coins for each heads. It'll ER and energy off of the active, so Wigglytuff wants to keep those DCEs. Gotta hope for double tails off of Twister. Here comes Twister. Oof, one heads. So there goes the DZ. That's a big deal. 50 damage to Wigglytuff means Mud Splash cleanup here. Next turn could double prize. I mean, you could... Let's see, do the wave at 60. You could comp search for a DCE. Do the wave for 60. That pops the Gold Berry. Even without Gold Berry, Jigglypuff wouldn't be able to come in and clean up with Pound. There's also a Warp Energy for bouncing. You can't try to do something cheeky with Lullaby and putting things to sleep here. There's also a Gust in hand. We'll keep an eye on that for Kingdra's side. That could be the final prize at the end of the day.
So I can reverse thrust for 20 and switch it with the bench Pokemon. I can bolt for 10, flip a coin of heads, paralyze you. I can Mud Splash for 30, flip a coin of heads, deal 10 to one your bench Pokemon. Or I can just do Twister.
Alright, there's the comp search. Hard to say what the perfect card here is.
Also, just so you're aware, it ignores the cost of the prior attack. Doesn't matter.
Which is pretty good. I just did hit a red light back in the lady. Game 2, I just like was the only bike stuff. I just drew, I think go. Like every turn after.
Alright, so this is what we talked about with the math before. Do the wave is going to do damage, remove that Gold Berry, but it's not enough to really get a knockout as a follow-up, even if you get a fully powered up Wigglytuff back up after this inevitable knockout.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. I have to go ahead and genetic memory. I'm going to choose Mud Splash to deal 30 here, which will knock out the Wigglytuff, and I'm going to roll to see if I can deal 10 to knock out Wigglytuff.
Alright, Mud Splash potential double KO is good, so we're down to one prize for Kingdra here. Looks like there was a DCE and a trader off of that prize pool, so not looking good right now if you're Wigglytuff. And remember, there's that Gust in the hand. Alright, we're just gonna eke. I don't think there's much more for Wigglytuff to do in this match. Scyther evolves. There's another metal. Okay, we will see the Gust. Alright. Setting up knockouts here. So Mud Splash was selected off genetic memory. It does 30 to Jigglypuff, which is stuck in the active. Failed the flip for the final knockout on Cleffa, but this makes math much easier for next turn. Lots of options next turn for final prize. Probably inevitable. Short of baby stalling here, don't think there's much that can be done. I see a Wigglytuff in hand, but a fully powered Do the Wave is not going to take out Kingdra. A Do the Wave deck without plus power or strength charm will still hit good numbers, but not out of nowhere. Ekin again, looking for a prayer in that deck. Oh, and there's another Gust. That's going to do it. That'll bring in the other Jigglypuff. And there we go. That'll be game. So final prize was... Oh, got a Twister for it? That's not needed. Okay. All good. Final prize was a Water Energy. So thank you for watching. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And we'll catch you next time.